Did you ever encounter shame? Or do you suffer from guilt? That's what we are going to talk about today. This is Now Tell Us, and I'm your host, Anthony Mwerore. At Now Tell Us, we have guests come and tell us stories. They come and inspire us. They come and educate us on a subject. And always we have great guests. That means even today, we have a great guest. If you're ready for this episode, please join me as we go and meet our guest today, who's known as Lois Hollis. She's going to be here shortly. But I remind you to share this episode, to comment, ask questions if you can, if you have some, and we will appreciate your feedback. So without taking one more minute, let's go and meet Lois. Here we go. Hello, Lois.
Hello, welcome, and thank you for the invite to talk to your
Yes,
wonderful listeners.
welcome to Now Tell Us. We are honored to have you here.
I am honored to be here because I want to help you change your life to where you want to go.
Oh, that's good.
That's my job. That's
Yeah,
my job.
and I believe every listener, every viewer here has a place they want to go. And if we can have someone who's going to help us get there, now this is going to be a great episode. So be ready, everyone, as we welcome Lois to the show. Yay! Welcome. Now, maybe we can get started by knowing, where are you?
I'm in Waynesville, North Carolina,
Mhm.
United States, in the mountains.
That's beautiful.
It
The
is
mount-
beautiful, and
Yeah.
it's very nice at this moment in time because of all the crazies.
How's the weather?
It's not as populated.
Okay.
We
And the
have
weather?
more mountains. We have more mountains, and
Okay.
people build on the mountains. So um, it's a very nice place to be doing podcasts.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And one day we're gonna be there also to come and see it. Now, can you tell us, who is Lois? What does she do? What has she done
Well,
this day?
I will give you the short version because I'm 79 years old and I
Wow.
could talk for quite a long time. It's been a long journey.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'll give you the Reader's Digest.
Okay,
That's the
go
best
ahead.
thing I can do. My name is Lois, and looking back on my life, I've been a trailblazer. I didn't know that because I just invented things because nobody was doing that. I thought everyone did that. Like if you didn't have a certain something, I would have to invent it. It was my MO. So looking back on my life, I've always came in to do something to help a situation out, even though it wasn't created.
Mm-hmm.
So I became a nurse. I've always wanted to help. I've always wanted to be healthy. Money is good, but to me, health was everything. Even as a young kid, I've always wanted to be healthy, and I entered the health field as a nurse to learn more about being healthy.
Hmm.
So I have three MDs in the family, and the whole family is very medically orientated. However, I digressed a little into holistic health because I suffered from a lot of abusive injuries in my childhood. Unbeknownst to me, until at 40, I collapsed. I was always very energetic and so forth and so on. And in my nursing career, I helped create one of the first kidney hemodialysis units in the country
Hmm.
just because it wasn't invented yet.
Mm-hmm.
I helped with creating it and teaching how people can use kidney hemodialysis to maintain their life. Now we're doing a lot of transplantation, but in 1966, that wasn't available.
Okay.
So that started the kidney dialysis field, and I taught doctors and nurses and hospitals how to do that, and also home dialysis. I was a great teacher in that. I started the um, American Nephrology Nurses and Technicians Organization in 1970, and that's still in existence today. So I'm very proud of that. However, I eventually got married and had beautiful children. I lost three babies, and God gave me three babies. So that was another big um, uh, situation in my life,
Mm-hmm.
um, which carries a lot of shame guilt.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point in my 50s, I was extremely depressed because I had not looked at the abuse that I had as a child. You know how you forget things and then all of a sudden your alarm clock goes off
Yeah.
and your mind. So I think we all have an alarm clock inside of us, and
Mm-hmm.
it goes off when we need to attend to our life. And that happened somewhere in my 50s after I did all this creative, wonderful stuff. It's amazing, isn't it? How much
Yeah.
power we have, even though we have handicaps, we can
Yeah.
still keep moving. So
Mm-hmm.
we are very powerful beings. All humans are, and that's my message today: is that
Mm-hmm.
we are powerful and we have done incredible work, even though we may have this happen or that happen. We always keep moving. We are an incredible race. Humanity is incredible. However, I had to learn how to not be depressed and anxious and fearful. And I came to learn that shame guilt is an energy that comes upon us with the words that we say to each other. Like if I say, "Oh, Anthony, I love the backdrop of your video of your podcast. I love the books. I'm good. Achieve your dream. That's very insightful. And your eyes are glowing now. You got love energy."
Yeah. That's
That's
good.
and that's what love energy does. It gives us joy and happiness and we confidence. And you think, oh, if they like this, I can do more. So
Mm-hmm.
that's love energy. But it came in what, Anthony? The words I said to you.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can say, Anthony, it's really very stupid of you to put that backdrop up. It doesn't mean anything and it really devaluates you, and you should wear a different color shirt and so forth and so on. And your face is not happy and glowing right now. But you see how that energy changes you?
Mm-hmm.
It depends. So that's the shame guilt energy that came to you and made you feel depressed or anxious or not good enough. It's all in the words we say, we hear from people, and what we tell ourselves, the inner critic.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned that that is our only problem in life is shame guilt energy. So
Mm.
once you know the problem, you can fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody condensed it into that framework. They call it an emotion, but shame guilt is an energy that changes our emotions,
Mm-hmm.
changes compassion to depression. It changes passion to anger. It changes our mind to confusion. It stops our heart from seeking God, seeking religion, seeking our dreams. It stops our living. It makes us physically ill. Shame guilt energy is like a computer virus. Anthony, what happens to you when your computer gets a virus?
Wow.
Don't, don't even talk about it, right? It doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a virus removal program.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just say, go away, go away. It
No,
don't.
it doesn't.
Can you see the virus coming into your computer?
No, you cannot.
But
It
you
just,
can see what it did to you.
yeah.
That's
Mm-hmm.
shame guilt energy. You can't see it, but oh, you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm making the invisible visible. And that's what I did in my films. I made shame guilt visible so you can see how it affects you.
Mm. Now, even before we proceed further, I'd like to just look at the point, that perspective that you have given us, and the illustration that you have used about my backdrop and about me. Now, in our environment, we have all those things happening, and we are surrounded with the good and maybe the not so good. And then we have that perspective that we are, I mean, or rather, if someone comments about their perspective of us, then that's what we focus on, and we let it grow inside of us. So if it is a negative one, it keeps growing. And I get you when you say that shame, that guilt, being reminded of things you did, or even reminding yourself sometimes, I guess.
Yeah. So, um, unbeknownst to us, is that we can make friends with our inner critic.
Mm-hmm.
Our inner critic is our best friend. Only your inner critic got taught the same way you got taught to shame yourself, to guilt others, the religion, the government, your
Mm-hmm.
parents, society, your friends, your enemy. We can't blame anybody because it's pandemic. Now that's the real pandemic. Shame
Mm-hmm.
guilt pandemic. That's the real guy because it makes you feel guilty and shameful and not good enough.
Yeah, and from some choices that we have made, some mistakes, some accidents that have happened, and then we look back, and then we look at the point where we can blame ourselves, or we are
We're
ashamed.
taught to blame ourselves.
And yeah, so it's horrible, and we get it, we take it internally.
So I say we can. So when you have yourself saying, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that. That was a dumb mistake," or "Why did you do that?" When you hear that within yourself, I
Mm-hmm.
would like for you to say, "Who's talking? Who's talking?"
Who's talking?
So then
I'm
you can make it like I'm talking to you and
Yes.
teach you that shame guilt doesn't work and we got to kick it out. You got to teach your inner critic the same thing
Mm-hmm.
because he's living in the timeline of your when you're 2 and 3 years old. You're going to say, "Hello, I'm living in 2023. I'm an adult. I know a lot. I've done a lot of research. Look at all the books. Look at all the work I've done." But he or she doesn't know that. My inner critic calls himself king, and he changed his job because he can't have any more power unless I get power. But I can't get any power until he stops doing the shame guilt story. So he changed his job and now finds podcasts like you, Anthony, and he doesn't do the shame guilt. Okay, not 100%. There's always something there, but it's not the the amount that I had before when I was suicidal.
Mm-hmm.
So you can make friends with your inner critic,
Mm-hmm.
Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
And you just say, "What is your name? Who's talking?" You may not get an answer right away, but if you keep asking, eventually you'll hear telepathically, you'll hear a name.
Mm.
And some inner critics are female and some are male. But you
Ah,
can't say, "Shut up, go away, tap it away." You can't cut your head off.
no.
You got to make friends.
Mm-hmm.
Got to make friends. So that's my message today is shame guilt comes into us as an energy. We
Mm-hmm.
don't need it. It's put upon humanity to make us victims. That's the only thing it does. It doesn't make us better people. And the shame is in the unconscious mind and guilt's in the conscious. But it's the same thing. It's like a nickel. A
Mm.
nickel has heads and tails, right? But what? It's still a nickel.
Sure.
So that's why I combined the two because they made us not realize that it's the same energy and therefore we get confused. And I say it's shame guilt energy.
Mm.
Very interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Now, we have viewers watching us, and we thank each and every viewer who's out there, and we thank you for your participation. We have Joyce with us, Joyce Osiango. She has a question. And
Okay. I love questions.
yes, she asks, are we not responsible in changing our inner critics? If so, if you can't change it, should you try to locate the source of the damage?
Okay. We don't change the inner critic. The inner critic chooses to change. Okay. Difference. If I tell you you have to change, Anthony, that's shaming and guilting. I
Mm,
offer you the concept of helping your inner critic to change because it's in your best interest, Anthony, not to use shame guilt because you can get more power.
mm-hmm,
The inner critic can't get any more power, and I can't get any more power. The shame guilt is the glass ceiling. So, yes, I regret what some decisions I've made, but I regret gives me a solution. I can do something about it. Guilt gives me no solutions. That's why I said, yes, you're still responsible for your life, but you don't guilt yourself. You can have regret. There's a difference. Guilt is the lowest energy that you as a human can have. Guilt is comes in at 10 or 20. Our highest is 700,000. And I sent you that picture of David Hawkins,
mm-hmm.
where you see guilt is the lowest frequency that you can have and still be alive.
Mm.
So
So, yeah.
don't be in guilt. Okay, you can
Mm,
have remorse, you can have regret, you can be angry, you can be depressed, but you can't be guilty because there is no solution with guilt. That's my message. There's no solution with guilt because you're not good enough to make a solution.
you're not good enough to make a solution.
Pardon?
You say you're not good enough to make a solution.
Right, because
Yeah.
you're in guilt. But if
Mm,
you're in regret, well, I shouldn't have done that. I think I could have made a visit to that person and helped them out, but I just was busy. I couldn't do it. I regret that. But I don't feel bad. I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to guilt myself for doing a wrong thing. You just made a choice. We make choices every minute of the day.
mm-hmm. Yeah, we do.
So that's our choice. But if you're in guilt, you sit home contemplating suicide. And that is very prevalent today. We can't be in guilt. If you're in guilt, call a friend to get out of the frequency of guilt. You
Mm-hmm.
just can't be in guilt. So that's my message. And I had a wonderful client a little while ago who had incredible guilt because
Yeah,
she couldn't help her mother out of alcoholism. And her mother had passed. And as you know, and everyone knows, you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped.
sure.
I suggested to her to use regret. You can regret that you couldn't help your mother. Well, she went on to help many, many people with books and various tips to get out of the addiction of alcoholism. Regret gave her a solution, guilt gave her nothing.
Okay.
Interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting. It is interesting. And I want to bring 1 minute. No. So I wanted to bring.
Does that answer Joyce's
Let's hope. So, let's hope it answers her. She will
because
tell us right
yeah,
now.
because
Mhm.
she can contact me at my email if she wants more.
Okay. So for people who want to connect with you, they can always get to your website. Isn't
LoisHollis.com. Mm-hmm.
that's loishollis.com. So Joyce, if you haven't been answered, you can always follow up with Lois.
Yeah,
Now,
and because there's more to say on your question, but we're limited on time here. But you have a great question, and it's a very common question, and I would like to help you further with that. So please get in touch with me. Okay, Anthony, you're on.
okay. Yeah, thank you. Now, the film, you made a film. When was that, and what's in it, and how can we, is it available to us?
Well,
And maybe even many, I don't know, you can tell us.
how I came to do this work? Is that what you wanted to
I'm
know?
talking about the film.
Oh, the film.
Yeah,
Shame guilt needs to be visualized because we only believe what we see. And as
yeah.
we talked about, we didn't see the computer virus, right?
Uh-huh.
So I made films showing how shame guilt energy works and looks. And so then you can get a visual of how it affects your mind and your heart and your feelings. Also, I have to show that we can talk to our inner critic. And I have my film also shows how I talk to my inner critic and how my inner critics resolve our life
Okay.
is to get our inner critic as our friend. Can you imagine all the negativity that you receive from yourself to be positive automatically? You're on automatic pilot of positiveness. How
Uh-huh.
cool is that?
It's cool.
And
It's
we
cool.
were we were designed that way, not to hurt ourselves. We were designed to help ourselves.
Sure.
But shame guilt came in and put a monkey wrench in our life.
Yeah.
And I'm saying you can kick it out. You can't make friends with it. You can't talk to it. It's a parasite. It's a leech, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
We just say no. Like when someone's talking on the phone and giving you a lot of stuff, you go boing, 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 boing. I don't take it. I don't take it. No, no.
Mm. So Joyce says thank you for your answer. She
Good.
appreciates. Now, I wanted to bring to the screen the diagram that you talked about, and then you can talk about it a bit more.
Okay. David Hawkins, who now lives in heaven, made a wonderful map of consciousness. He gave a numerical number to each, well, most of our emotions. Enlightenment, what is the highest form that we as a human can have, that's when we have total light energy. It's 700,000, 700,000 to the 30th power. That's huge. That's a huge number. And there is a number that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come down from that frequency to love and peace and happiness and confidence and courage and pride. At 150, you can see it changes to anger. And
Okay.
then we get desire and fear and grief. The lowest one, well, some of them say 10 and some say 20, is shame and guilt.
Mm-hmm.
That is the lowest frequency, Anthony, you can have. And guess what's after that?
Death.
Nothing. Death. That's
Okay.
why suicide is always preceded by guilt
Mm-hmm.
and shame. How sad is that? So when I say you can't stay in guilt, I really mean you can't stay in guilt. You have
Mm.
no permission to stay in guilt. And if you can't get out of it, you call a friend to raise your frequency up, or you get out and talk to one of your friends. Or if you have no friends, call a store. They'll give you the hours of the store. I mean, I'm being ridiculous here, but you've got to get out of guilt. And also on my website, I have Now's the Time booklet that has readings that bring your frequency up.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
call,
Yeah. Because I was going there. Tell us the many different ways of dealing with it now.
you just got to kick it out and say no.
Yeah.
No. And then you can be regretful. It's okay to say, I'm goofed. Oops, I made a mistake. It's okay. The world says you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be in guilt. Well,
Okay.
they're not helping you. They're making you victims. Shame guilt only has one job: to make you a victim.
Mm.
I'm not a victim, Anthony, and neither are you,
Yeah. I'm not
and
a
neither
big.
is Joyce. We're not victims. We can be angry at something that somebody did or that you did. That's
Hmm.
okay. But guilt, you can't do it.
So live without the shame, guilt, leech, says Lois Hollis. We thank you for sharing that and just reminding us, even through the illustrations, of how the power that we have and how we can deal with it, how we can kick out shame, guilt, leech, and live
Each
fully.
time, every time, every time. And then when you say it to you say, who's talking? We got
Hmm.
to make friends. We can't be working this way. You know,
Yeah.
we got to be in harmony, but we got to talk. And I have a video on how to talk to your inner critic. It's a process. It's
Uh-huh.
not, it's just like talking to Anthony, just saying, hi, how are you? And that's how we do it. And we need to see shame guilt as something bad. It's not good. And it's placed upon us to make us victims. And we are not victims. It's very interesting that when you or someone else learns to say no to this shame guilt energy and they take it away from themselves, you get so much energy back because shame guilt is like a leech. It sucks on you. Once you say no, you become powerful. Shame guilt is no longer powerful.
Mm-hmm.
You already have light. It's just the shame guilt is taking it. That's why its job is to do that. It survives on your light. But no, 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 you can't have my light. It's my light, not yours.
Hmm. It's good.
That's my parting comment.
So, remind us, apart from the resources that you have told us that we will get from your website, in which way do you work with people directly to help them kick out the shame leech?
No, never say there. We don't own it. Say the shame.
Uh-huh.
Okay. It's the shame. We don't,
Okay.
I don't, it's not my shame. It's
Yeah.
the shame. Okay.
Okay.
Everybody says that, Anthony. Okay.
Ah, okay. The
Isn't it
shame.
interesting? The
Good.
shame.
The
Never own.
shame.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I tell people I do individual counseling. Yes.
Okay.
They can get in touch with me at my website.
Yeah, because sometimes things sound simple, but when you go into the application, they don't come as simple as they sound. And always we need someone who is holding our hand to urge us on or to remind us, hey, this is the path you are supposed to be walking, and you're walking in the opposite direction. So it's good
You
that you
have
do
to make friends with the inner critic. And
that.
you
Hmm.
start out by saying, who's talking? I want to know, what is your name?
Yeah.
I mean,
Who's,
like if your neighbor's giving you a hard time or one of your friends say, hey, guy, what's up?
yeah.
Right? That's how you talk to the inner critic. Hey, guy, what's up? Why are you doing this?
Hey, who's talking there?
Who's talking?
Yeah, thank you very much, Lois, for being with us here and sharing with us what you've told us today. We thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so I'm reminding people to hop onto your website. They can connect with you on any of the platforms that are there, or send you an email. You're going to find it, watch the videos there, and yeah, get to kick out that shame, guilt, leech. Yeah,
Yeah.
kick it out. Who's talking? Go, get out of here. And now, before we go, we'd like you to leave us with a few words that we should always remember. Which are they, Luis?
I'm just reading part of Joyce's question,
Okay.
and the shame guilt energy does damage us.
Mm-hmm.
But once we release the shame guilt, we as humans automatically heal.
Mm.
We don't have to do anything. Why? Because we are evolved species. We have the healing inside of us. We cut our finger and we put a Band-Aid on it, and 2 days later it's healed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I have to take the glass out first that cut it.
Yeah.
Okay. So we
Mm,
take out the shame, guilt, Joyce. The damage automatically heals. How wonderful.
that's good. Wonderful.
That's good. That's good. Just
Yeah,
kick it out. That's it. Number one and number two and number three. Kick it out.
kick it out. So the last words as we sign off, what would you say? Or
Shame.
what? Or were those the words that you wanted to share with us?
There's. I think I did this. No shame, guilt here.
Okay, just shame guilt. Get off.
That's it.
Get off. Who's talking? Yeah, get off.
And who's talking?
Yeah. So once again, we thank you, Lois, and every person who's been watching or those who get to watch after we have signed off. We thank you for your time, and please share this video with every other person out there because we know many people are suffering the shame guilt.
Leech is out there.
There are riches out there. So send it everywhere and let them know how to kick it out.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Anthony.
Okay. So this has been Now Tell Us, and I have been your host, Anthony Moirore. Together with our guest today, Lois Hollis, we are saying bye for now. Kick it out. Kick it out. And bye. Yeah.